Hi, welcome back to my channel. So, it's actually been a while since I recorded one of these videos because Riverdale didn't have an episode last week. So, this is my Riverdale review and reaction. Um, so, let's read what the episode was about. Okay, so A Few Good Men. Following in his grandpa Artie's footsteps, Archie begins to recruit Riverdale's new volunteer fire department. Tony's attempt to lure Cheryl out of Thornhill and back into daily life in Riverdale leads to more tension between the two. Elsewhere, Betty, Alice, and Kevin's latest investigation leads them into conflict with Hiram. Finally, as Veronica comes up with a risky plan to support Riverdale's local businesses, Jughead and Tabitha begin to unravel an old mystery surrounding some strange sightings in the town. So, yeah. And I, again, wrote down everything on my phone. So, let's get right into it. So, as we remember at the end of last episode, a fire was set to Archie's house, most likely by Hiram, because Hiram is a sore loser, kind of like Donald Trump. Actually, I'm going to compare Hiram to Donald Trump. They're the same person. Spoiler alert, they're the same person. Just kidding. I mean, they have the same personality. One's the mayor, one was the president, one was the mayor. They both are horrible people, but in different ways. Different ways. I mean, Trump is sexist and racist and everything in between, and then Hiram is just a horrible person to his whole family. Like, does he want his daughter to hate him? Like, he's not even trying. Like, I kept on hoping he would get good, and the moment they kind of give him the storyline where he's going to become a better person, they kind of just tear that down. But anyway, so the episode begins. They have put out the fire, a lot of scorch marks, but they had to put it out with 2 fire extinguishers that Fred had left in the house because there's no firemen in the town. So at this point, Archie decides that he's going to try to figure out a way to restart the fire department, because it turns out his grandpa Artie was a fireman, and he found the old fire chief who still lives in town. Also, Dr. Curl Jr. is back. I was hoping they would bring him back, especially with the whole serial killer. So they found a body in the last episode, and it's not Polly's, it's another girl's. So we'll come back to that. I'm going through. I know some people who do these kind of recaps and reviews go by storyline, and I might try that next episode. I might do a whole storyline instead of going, because I go by the episode. But so then it's Ronnie versus Hiram, because she goes to confront her father about the fire, and he denies it, but we all know it was him. And so then Tony is coaching the River Vixens, and Cheryl shows up all dressed in red, and she has a new HBIC shirt on. And she tells Tony she's ready to reclaim the Vixens. Now, I was hoping that Tony would have taken over the Vixens to get Cheryl out of Thornhill, but I don't think that's why she did it. I think that might have been a part of it, but I think she actually likes coaching them. But Cheryl says that she's now the HBIC again, but Tony's like, no, you're not. I'm now the HBIC. And then so Cheryl's like, let's have a dance on. And Tony's like, I'm pregnant. And so one of the girls joins, and Cheryl's like, well, you kind of look like a horrible person, so sure. And then it's a tie. They tie. So Tony offers Cheryl to be the River Vixens coaches, so the HBICs. Cheryl agrees. Okay, so then Jackson is back. Corporal Jackson's back, who is the guy that Archie saved in the first episode of the Time Jump. And he's back, and Archie introduces him to his friends. You know what I'm wondering, though, during this episode? Where's Betty's cat? Because when she left, Quantico to come back to Riverdale, she left her cat in the care of her boyfriend. And now she's having a sexual relationship with Archie. So where's the cat? We actually do see Glenn again in this episode. Still don't know where her cat is. So Betty ends up finding a pattern. Because she finds one girl that fits the description of the body they found, but it's not that girl. So that means that they have the body of a missing girl, and then another girl's body has not been found, and then Polly is still missing. All three are young girls, so Betty calls that a pattern. So Betty finds out that both Sheriff Keller and Tony, when she was a social worker, worked on the case of the one missing girl that Betty found the file of. So she goes and she talks to Tony and finds out more information. So Archie asks all of his friends to join the fire department, and they all say no. Kevin surprised me a little because that's the sheriff, but so the ROTC guys say that they would love to help with the fire department. Seem like swell guys. And so Archie agrees, says they have to be 16 and parents' permission and everything. And Veronica says that she will get her friend, she would get Katie Keene's friend Bernardo to come and train them. So that they can learn to be firefighters. So Veronica decides that she is going to enter into an investment to help local businesses. Specifically, getting her business she wants. She wants to turn the former Blue Velvet Videos into a jewelry store. And so she creates what I'm calling Riverdale dollars with her face on them. Well, her dad finds out about that, and it doesn't go down well. But so Bernardo is now training the firefighters. And then it's Cheryl versus Tony, because Cheryl called an extra practice, didn't tell Tony, and then they get into it, and then a girl gets hurt, they have to get the nurse, and Tony is like, we're co-captains. And then Tony cancels practice one day and actually talks to Cheryl and says that even I know you've been through a lot, but you can be a good person, and you need to decide if you want to help us save this town or if you want to stand against us. And it actually really hurt Cheryl hearing those words. But during that, I was wondering where Penelope was, because Tony says that Cheryl is acting just like her mother, which is something that Cheryl never wants to be told. But we do know that Penelope would have been getting out of jail in time to see her graduate Highsmith, even though she never went to Highsmith, which I really hate that Cheryl never went. I really hope they finally give Cheryl a redemption arc. When Cheryl gets home from that encounter, the girl that she sold the forged painting to has shown up, figured out it was a forgery, and we don't actually know what happened to her. Betty has asked Tony if she could help searching the swamp. I forget what it was called. Searching the swamp, and Tony says, yeah, you can use any serpents that you need. So Betty, Alice, Kevin, and all the serpents go do along with Sheriff Keller. They do a search party and search Polly. Well, they are stopped by Hiram and Reggie, who is holding a shotgun. Like, are you really going to shoot the people who used to be your friends? Like, I really hope. Well, Reggie's the main character, so I really hope that eventually they give a reason to why Reggie's like this. I also hope they stop making Hiram the villain. Like, I know Mark Consuelos is a main character, and I know Mark Consuelos is a main character, and like we don't want him to actually leave the show. But I think he needs to become a better person. I think they need to give him a redemption arc, because sometimes villains in TV shows become good people. Like, uh, Damon was a villain in The Vampire Diaries, became a good person. Uh, Klaus became a good person. Uh, Enzo became a good person. There's a whole bunch of villains on Once Upon a Time that became good people. Zelena, Gold. Eh, he was kind of an anti-hero. But Zelena and Regina both were evil and wicked, and they became good people. You know, Dan Scott on One Tree Hill. Eventually, he started out as the villain, became the anti-hero, and then at the very end, the last season, the episode he died in, he was made an protagonist. Or not a protagonist, because that's like the main character, but he was made a good person, a hero. But anyway, so yeah, so they stop the search party because they're like, you're trespassing, and then Betty's like, well, we're trying to find Polly, and there's probably other girls, and I was like, he doesn't care, you're trespassing. Betty has a shotgun. Well, I wrote down that Hiram is a jackass. Cause he is. So then we find out that Nana Blossom is completely crazy. So that's another storyline that I don't know, I'm not really talking about because I don't really find it interesting, and it's not like big points, but Jughead and Tabitha, who a lot of people think are going to get together, and I think even if they do get together, he's destined to be with Betty, and Archie is destined to be with Veronica. Because watching this episode, I see how Veronica looks at Archie and how Archie looks at Veronica. Because even though they're broken up, they're still having scenes together, sort of. Well, Betty and Jughead are not having scenes together, so we don't actually know how they're looking at each other, but Archie and Veronica are looking at each other, something that Veronica does not look at Chadwick like, and Archie does not look at Betty that way. So even if he does date Tabitha for a little bit, it's not going to be for long. But they're doing a story on the Mothman, which is kind of like the Griffins and Gargoyles storyline they did, which made no sense to real life. But they're talking to Nana Blossom, and she's just very crazy. But anyway, Betty calls Glenn. So this is Glenn Constant. Betty calls Glenn because she needs an FBI, because when she shows Hiram her FBI badge, she says that she's not a real FBI agent. Whatever. So she's like, I need you to at least send one FBI agent so we can search this place. And Glenn tells her that he can't, and then he finally reveals why. The TBK killer is back, which is the trash bag killer, which is the serial killer that kidnapped Betty during the 7-year time jump. Which they said that they're going to do flashbacks, so we're going to see things in flashback form. And when Riverdale had the time jump, they did a whole episode based on flashbacks. And I really hope Riverdale does a whole episode based on flashbacks so we can finally see everything that happened in those 7 years. Like, what was it Betty... Well, when Betty was kidnapped by the trash bag killer, at that same time, what was Veronica doing? So that was pretty cool. So, we see a flashback, a little bit of Betty's time in captivity, but it's the same flashback we saw before. And she starts to, like, start crying because, like, she still blames herself because if she hadn't been kidnapped, they probably would have caught him. Which isn't true. They could have, but you never know. So eventually Betty decides that she's going to go search the swamp by herself because she doesn't care what Hiram says. Like, he's not in charge. He doesn't own this town. He's not the mayor anymore. Riverdale is not a town. And shooting someone is illegal. Well, Reggie's there, and Reggie didn't shoot her because I don't think Reggie would ever shoot one of his former friends. even if he did change sides. So during this, I'm thinking, I hope they reveal finally, why does Reggie work for Hiram? Because like, he's not gonna shoot Betty, and he actually gives her a body that he found, and I hope they reveal it. So the body that they found is the girl that Betty found the file of. So now they have the girl whose file they had and the body they now found. Polly is missing, and then they have the body of the unnamed girl. And then I wrote down that there were 4 bodies. But I don't know why. They might have found 3 bodies in this episode. And then the body Polly's missing, and then they found 2 bodies? No, they found a body. Polly's missing. They found a body in the last episode, and then 2 bodies in this episode. But anyway, I wrote down 4 bodies. There's at least 2 bodies that they found, and then Polly makes the 3rd missing girl. So Archie also ran into a burning building in this episode because someone, probably Hiram, set the building on fire. Also, where's Vegas? Like, we still have no mention of Vegas at all. Also, at the end, Reggie convinces Hiram to let them search the swamp, because even if it derails what Hiram wants to do, it's better to let them search, find the bodies they need, and then build it. So is Reggie starting to help them? Who knows? That's the last thing I wrote down. Also, at the end of the episode, it turns out that there are 21 missing girls that they have found that have gone missing on the Lonely Highway, which they revealed this season that there's going to be a serial killer called the Lonely Highway Killer. And we also know that one girl from this first time jump episode, Squeaky, was being chased by a trucker, and then Polly was also being chased by a trucker. So 21 names. And I really hope Jughead kind of gets involved. I know he's doing his own thing, but I hope he eventually gets brought in, and maybe he writes a story on the Lonely Highway Killer instead of the Mothman. Or he could write 2 stories. Who knows? But it was always Jughead and Betty working on the mysteries together. So I really hope they get that duo back. And the next episode actually looks really good. I'm gonna read the synopsis, but it looks like Cheryl throws like a party with all the former friends, and Chadwick and Tabitha, it looks like, and she like takes their keys so they can't leave, and they get to do things that they could never do before. And it looks like Chad and Archie get into it, but I will do that recap tomorrow, the reaction to the promo tomorrow. So yeah, I'm waiting for that flashback episode, but let me read the synopsis for the next episode. So it's called Lock and Key. So the Queen of Chaos strikes again. A big announcement forces everyone to take stock of their current lives. Cheryl sets a risky plan in motion after learning such surprising news about Tony. Jughead tries to make sense of the strange encounters he had. Kevin and Fangs make a big decision about their future together. Maybe they get married. Surprising news. Maybe that's who's the father of the baby. I would think so. I'm kind of excited for that episode. It sounds interesting. But let's look at these photos. So we have the girl, and then them watching the dance battle. We have some firefighter scenes. There's Jackson, and Cheryl is back. Jughead almost was abducted by aliens. Bernardo, Betty, the dead body, a lot of stuff. But yeah, next episode actually sounds really interesting. I really hope we find out who the father of Tony's baby is. Because there's gonna be, so today's the 10th, which is when this came out. There's an episode next week, the 17th. There's also one the 24th, and I believe one the 31st. And then the 7th, which I believe, let me go to the phone. So the 7th, I can do it here. The 7th is the following week, which is when a new show called Kung Fu premieres. And Riverdale won't be back until July. So there's 3 more episodes, and then it goes on hiatus, or at least 3 more episodes, and then it goes on hiatus. So we don't actually know when exactly it's coming back. It's coming back in like June, July. But we know Vanessa Morgan has had her baby. She went on maternity leave. So there's 3 more episodes. And then when the show comes back, it will probably be the episodes recorded after Vanessa Morgan came back from maternity leave. So Tony will probably wear a fake stomach starting next, and then the baby will probably be born a couple episodes after that. This is what I'm speculating. So that's probably why it's going on such a long hiatus. 1, because there's a new show that's coming on, but 2, for Tony going on maternity leave. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and in tomorrow's video, I will do a reaction to the next promo. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.